Well, guys, as the great Bob Dylan said, the times, they are changing. It is another day, and we've got more massive entertainment business news that will surely have some sort of effect on physical media. Now, if you're living under a rock and you haven't seen the news yet, it was announced today that Netflix has won the bidding war for Warner Brothers. And this was a hotly contested bidding war with Netflix, Paramount, Comcast, Universal, and even some international investors all trying to win over the Warner Brothers catalog. Interestingly enough, Netflix only bid for Warner Brothers and HBO, not the Discovery part of the business. So they were purely interested in the entertainment franchises and the streaming services. They weren't interested in the cable TV and the news like CNN that Discovery owns. Now, if this deal goes through, and we will talk about that and why it may not, it means that Netflix has full control of that Warner Brothers catalog. It means they own DC, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dune, Lord of the Rings. They own Scooby-Doo. They own Looney Tunes. They own Game of Thrones. They own Harry Potter. They own The Sopranos. They own a lot. And they also own that entire Warner Brothers back catalog, which many of us have been enjoying on physical media for years through things like Warner Archive, all the new 4K Warner Brothers releases, and all their new licensing deals with places like Arrow Video, and they did some Kino Lorber, I believe, Shout Factory, Vinegar Syndrome even got one, I think. I mean, they've been doing a great job with physical in doing these catalog releases, even stuff like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So your immediate question is probably, well, what does this mean for physical media? Netflix, the streaming giant, the one that a lot of you would say is the number one enemy of physical media, and even though I agree there should be a balance, I get it. What does this mean? They now own the oldest and one of the largest movie studios. Now, here's the reality of that when you look at the bigger picture. First of all, you have to remember what Warner Brothers is doing right now with physical media. They have a joint venture with Universal that they created back in 2020 called Studio Distribution Services, SDS for short. And SDS, since 2020, has handled all of the distribution and the manufacturing and the releasing of Warner Brothers and Universal's physical media releases. You may know them through their website at GRUV.com. That's their e-commerce online extension of what Studio Distribution Services does. But when they signed that deal in 2020 between the two companies, it was a 10-year deal. So there is some security there. It would be pretty hard for Netflix to come in and break up an existing 10-year deal with another massive corporation like Comcast Universal without some probably pretty serious financial repercussions and jumping through a lot of hoops. We're in year 5 of that deal, heading into year 6. That deal was in 2020. It runs through 2030. I would say that the runway is at the very least that you're getting physical media releases for Warner Brothers stuff for at least the next 5 years. On top of that, I think you have to look at physical media as a totally separate thing in this whole agreement. Now, if you're a fan of movie theaters, I agree this is scary. They are already saying on the Netflix side that they want to make theatrical windows more consumer friendly. And all that means is, and they've been transparent about this already, they want to shorten the window. They want to get down to those 30-day windows, the ones that I talk about being bad for the industry, because within 2 weeks, they're out of theaters and they're on a streaming service. And now that you have Netflix and Max combined and they have that huge incentive to drive subscriptions to their service, well, you're basically going to have like 2 weeks to see a movie in theaters or it's going to be on your TV. That's consumer friendly. They want you to keep paying a subscription that hits you every month that you don't think about, rather than consciously buying tickets and going to see something and them only making big bucks when there's a big movie like Dune or Harry Potter or Batman. They want your recurring dollars. So they're going to get you and train you, just like Netflix has, to start watching stuff at home. So fans of movie theaters should be concerned about this, but fans of physical media, I think it's different. I know Netflix doesn't love to release physical media, but when they're pressured to do so with somebody with clout, like Guillermo del Toro has clout, he probably said to Netflix, I'll make Frankenstein for you guys and you can distribute it, but it has to go in theaters for at least a limited time and it has to come on physical media. And the physical media thing is much easier to do. The theatrical, what was in theaters for? Like a week or two? Physical media, it's probably going to go to the Criterion collection and we're going to have it forever. So I would assume the same. Like there are directors out there, the Tarantinos, the Christopher Nolans, David Finchers, Denis Villeneuve, and Dune, who are not going to just say, yeah, don't put my movie in theaters and don't put it on physical media. They have the pull to do that. And if they do that, then some of the smaller filmmakers could have an equal pull. But at the end of the day, I don't even think they need it because SDS is its own entity and it's doing its own thing. SDS now not only has Universal and Warner Brothers, but Sony signed on with them in 2024, and they just acquired the entire Shout Factory, Scream Factory catalog to be their main supplier and distributor. So SDS is so much bigger than just Warner Brothers. They're dealing with retail stores, everything you see in Walmart, everything you see on Amazon, all the retailer exclusives. They have all these different brands coming in. They're becoming like this conglomerate of physical media that I don't think has to be worried about Netflix shutting them down, because they're doing their own thing. And for Netflix to shut them down, you'd have to say, well, sorry to Shout Studios and that private equity firm that just acquired them. We don't want to do this with you anymore. Sorry to Sony. We don't want to do this with you anymore. Sorry to Universal. We're going to break our deal. They're just not going to do that, especially when it's not their main focus. And I think that's a good thing that it's not their main focus, because it won't be an area that they look to go and cut. If anything, this is a little bit of money for Warner Brothers, which was probably going bankrupt otherwise. And while, somebody like Paramount or Comcast could have picked them up, I think it's better than some Saudi Arabian investment firm picking them up, and who knows what they're going to do with censorship on physical media. I think it's better than some private equity firm picking them up who's going to gut all these businesses right away and start laying people off. Netflix could be the lesser of 2 or 3 or 4 evils when it comes to physical media, because I think they're just going to ignore it and just say, you guys go do whatever you were doing. You're your own thing. It is a drop in the bucket for them revenue-wise. While it's still $1 billion industry, Netflix just bought a company for $82 billion. Like, the physical media side of their business is going to be less than 1% of all that they own if they bring in Warner Brothers and HBO. I just can't see it being a super negative thing on the physical media collector side of things. I just don't see it. I see it being a negative thing for competition, for maintaining, a fair market, for movie theaters, for creativity in film, for this endless world of subscription revenue and feeling like you owe something to a company every month. I can't wait to see, in the most sarcastic way possible that I can say this, what an HBO plus Netflix subscription is going to look like. And also, I have a deal right now. I pay HBO for Disney and Hulu. So are they going to break up that deal? And then Disney goes and does its own. Like, it's just going to create this massive ripple throughout this whole industry. And Netflix is going to get back to having a bunch of Warner Brothers stuff, and they're probably going to charge you $40 a month for a 4K streaming service. And at that point, it's like, how many movies and TV shows are you really watching? For you collectors out there, I just wouldn't be worried. SDS has this deal in place. They'd have to break massive contracts. They'd also have to break contracts with other places. They're just not going to shut down physical media. And if anything, now Netflix having this SDS distribution arm, making it easier, simpler for them to create physical media, who knows? Maybe you actually get more stuff. Netflix shows, Netflix movies. Maybe it doesn't have to just be Criterion, picking up, Del Toro's stuff because they have a good relationship and Netflix said, okay. Maybe Netflix goes, oh, you know what? A Stranger Things box set on 4K, what's it going to cost us to make? And we can sell it for that, and it's an extra couple $1,000,000. Well, I mean, if you guys can already do it and you're there, well, why not do it? I don't know. There's potential for things like that, I think. But ultimately, I don't have a crystal ball. This is going to take 12 to 18 months to work out. It's got to go through Congress and regulation boards, although we know no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, the side that we're all looking at is billionaires who own every politician on every side of the aisle. So billionaires want this to go through because they want consolidation, because they want more money, because they want subscription. Like, these people are probably going to lobby to get this pushed through, but it could stall out. It could fall apart, especially if it becomes a harder thing to do. I think part of why they didn't take the Discovery side of the business as well is because they want to argue it's not a monopoly, that they didn't take the whole business, that, they're just taking this portion. They're going to argue it's just like Disney and Fox. It's just like Disney and Lucasfilm or Disney and Marvel Studios. They're going to make all those arguments, and who knows? Maybe it goes through, maybe it doesn't, maybe it stalls out, but it's at least 12 to 18 months out before anything happens. It's at least 5 years out before they can break a deal with SDS, and I don't think they'll break that deal. So there's a long runway for physical media, and I don't think there's anything to worry about at least until 2030. I think there are other things going against physical media that could hurt the physical media world much more than this acquisition. So that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It certainly is an interesting day in film history. And it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of this and the mess that it potentially creates. And it sounds like Paramount is pissed about it, and they might start a lawsuit because it wasn't fair. And it's going to create this insane war in Hollywood. And at the end of the day, I said this on Instagram too, but like, that's probably why the A24s and the Neons and Mubi, who's newer on the scene, and some of these indie companies that are doing smaller stuff and still being creative are winning awards and are doing pretty well at the box office on smaller budgets and are making the movies that I think more people are talking about in the film world. They're not making these mass movies that will make 800 million, but they are making the movies that true film fans love and watch and that are winning Best Picture and winning awards. Like, it's interesting to see that shift. So we'll see where it all goes. Stay tuned here. I will certainly update you if anything happens on the physical media side. I talk about some more of the general business side of stuff on TikTok and Instagram if you want to follow me there as well. And I wrote a whole blog post about this on my Substack if you want to get more in depth with some more stats and stuff, or you just want to read. That's over there as well. It's jeffrossio.com. I'd love if you subscribe there. It's totally free to read, and you can support me for a couple bucks a month. Speaking of subscription revenue, I know, but hey, at least it's only a couple dollars, and I'm not raising my prices. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and stay healthy out there. Let's see where this goes, and I'll talk to you all soon.